We have to create the world that we want to live in, so it starts with us.
Welcome to the Georgia chapter of State of the Students' First Pizza and Politics, a video series where we discuss politics, civics, and government with state politicians. Today we have an interview with Lisa Ring, a politician from Georgia's 1st Congressional District, which includes Savannah. Ms. Ring worked as a corrections officer for the state. Politically, she has served in several positions with the state Democratic Party, most notably co-chairing Bernie Sanders' campaign in Georgia. Unfortunately, there is no pizza here today, but we just wanted to start off and ask, how do you feel about pineapple on pizza?
I love it if there's chicken and barbecue sauce on it.
So just to start off, can you please introduce yourself and talk a little about what inspired you to run for Congress?
Sure. I'm Lisa Ring. I live on the coast of Georgia, and I have run for the 1st Congressional District seat twice, in 2018 and 2020. I am a mother of 4. I served as a corrections officer. I was also the executive director of an anti-recidivism program in Pennsylvania. I do not consider myself a politician. I actually despise politics. I am a community organizer and an activist, and I saw that there was a lack of leadership in the 1st District. So I started to organize for Democrats. That turned into running for a seat that we had no candidates for. I decided that I was going to be hardworking and push progressive policies and that we could win this seat. Unfortunately, we did not, but we did set the stage for changing Georgia and 1st District. We empowered voters and we mobilized volunteers, and we truly made a difference, which you can see in the presidential election and the election of 2 senators.
What would you say is the most rewarding part of public service and alternatively the most challenging part?
The most rewarding part is knowing that you're making a difference, representing people who feel they have no voice. My goal has always been to empower people to take control, to stand up, and to fight for what they believe in. The most challenging part is having to answer to everybody. Running for Congress, I represented a wide variety of people with a variety of beliefs and needs, and it is very challenging to find the commonality. There is going to be no candidate that represents everything that you want them to represent.
That's absolutely right about looking for a compromise. So, how have you been managing in this pandemic?
It's been difficult, as it has for everybody. When I was campaigning during the pandemic, we could not go out and contact people and have person-to-person events. We shifted our focus. We had volunteers who made 500 masks that we distributed to military hospitals, a homeless shelter, and kidney dialysis treatment centers. And that took up our time. But we've been doing the best we can. We're doing it.
I think we can all agree that this pandemic has been difficult, but I think it's so great how you went and made masks and delivered them to people. So the next question is, as we all know, the election cycle this year has ended. Even though you are no longer in the running to be in Congress in this cycle, do you have any plans for your career in public service moving forward?
I know that I will not run for this seat again. Politics is not something that I ever wanted to be involved in. I just felt that it was necessary. But right now, I would like to focus my efforts on grassroots organizing, getting out there and talking to people about the issues and pushing policies and standing up for things that I believe in. I will certainly remain being an activist and representing people, and I will keep fighting for them. I'm just not sure in what capacity that will be.
So, as you know, State of the Students is a youth-based organization. So, what role do young people play in your campaign?
Young people were very important to our campaign. Some of the most important people in my campaign were young. Some were even in high school, and they were organizing in their county, canvassing, getting their friends involved, and were registering voters and working for other candidates too, local candidates. It was truly a grassroots effort dependent on young people. Us older adults have to realize that we cannot do things as we've always done them, that the world is changing, and that we need to start representing younger people. I have 4 children. They're all experiencing how hard it is to make it not getting a living wage, and what it's like to have to pay student loans, how difficult it is to find housing, Oh, and climate change, which is one of the most important issues, that if we don't deal with climate change, what kind of a future do you have or do your children have? It is important that we start listening to younger people and what their needs are, showing them how to be active. It's your future and you will be taking over this country.
I agree. Young people have been at the center of most political movements and activism throughout history. So it's great that you're finding that balance.
So, how do you think Georgia's Republican Congress will respond to two progressives being sworn into the Senate since Georgia became a swing state?
That's difficult to say. I think that what they're going to find is that they have no choice but to work with people that they don't agree with. People are tired of the stalemate that we have in our political leadership because we have two polarized sides. And I don't think that we have to compromise on issues. I think we have to compromise on how we work things out. They're going to have to be more reasonable. I hope that they don't go the opposite way and become more extreme, because I think we're about as extreme as you can get.
So, when you were talking about youth, you mentioned climate change. Since climate change is such a big issue for you, and now that we have President-elect Joe Biden and two new Democratic senators, how do you think facilitation of clean energy will be implemented nationwide?
Well, I can only hope that we would follow more extreme measures to mitigate climate change, and that we would invest the amount of money that it's going to take to help people convert. Environmental justice is very important to me. Lower income communities suffer the most with sea rise when they lose their property and they can't afford solar panels to lower their energy costs and so on. So I'm hoping that this administration will follow through with something like the Green New Deal. It looks like an initial huge output of money. The thing is that what we will get back from that is the creation of millions of jobs and lowering costs, as well as saving our planet. We are past the crisis stage. We have very little time to start to turn it around. Our political leaders need to say, hey, this is not going to be easy, but it is necessary, so we're going to do it.
Thank you. So you also mentioned some challenges that you faced running up against a long-term runner of the opposite party, such as having to speak for a wide group of people that don't always agree. What do you think it would take to flip your district?
I think what we were doing would have flipped the district. We just needed more time and the ability to reach more people. Being able to knock on doors was my thing. That was the way we were going to do it, one person at a time. When we weren't doing that, we were holding events. Large groups of people were coming to meet me, to hear me talk. They were just inspired that somebody was running against the current representative. We also needed more support. We had a lot of endorsements. None of them produced any funding. For the most part, the party didn't do anything to help my campaign. And there were a lot of organizations that could have done something that didn't. And I believe that it was because they were a little afraid of me being a progressive. I think we could have won in 2020. And I wish that people had stood up and been more supportive.
How has your experience as a correctional officer affected your views on criminal justice?
I learned that people are just people. It is unfortunate. We are a country of incarceration instead of helping people. When I became the executive director of the anti-recidivism program, I learned more about that environment. I was helping parolees try to get jobs and reintegrate into society, and that was very successful. So I saw two sides of it. I would say that the first thing is we need to stop treating our inmates as if they are a lost cause. We need to provide them with opportunities. The second thing is that we have to stop incarcerating so many people. Most of the people in the jail in which I worked were brown and Black people. And this was in a highly white area of Pennsylvania. So you can see the racial disparities there. We have to stop with this high rate of incarceration and incarcerating Black and brown people. There are other countries who use alternatives. We can work on rehabilitation. People just need help. We can provide that help with things like alternative courts and alternative sentencing also. There are so many solutions. We need to stop allowing our country to make money off of incarcerating people.
That's a good answer. So we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us. Why do you think students should take time out of their schedules to learn about government?
It is so important for everybody to know how their government works. When you leave it to other people and you say, I don't really know anything about that and I don't really want to get involved, then other people do whatever they want. And oftentimes it is self-serving. We have to be making sure that we are electing people that we truly believe in to represent us. For too long, we've been complacent and unaware of what's happening. And while that was happening, some very bad people have taken over our government and they've created policies that benefit them and not the majority of Americans. We need to be empowered and know that anybody can run for office. We have to create the world that we want to live in. So it starts with us. We are a democracy, so we need to start acting like we are a democracy.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. We really look forward to staying in contact with you. And again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.